So Finland was Sweden for about 500 years until the early 1800s. So you'll notice that Swedish is an official language in Finland. Some areas of some areas of Finland, Swedish is actually the majority language. It's Swedish-speaking Finns are only about 6% of the population, but especially on the west coast, across the Gulf of Bothnia from Sweden, you have a lot of Swedish-speaking Finns. They're Finnish people and Finnish citizens, but they speak Swedish as their native tongue. So if you serve up in Kokkola, in Vasa, those areas are now there's a lot of Finnish there, so you'll be fine, but you'll see a lot of Swedish. And then there's one city in Finland, Jakobstad in Swedish and Pietarsaari in Finnish. It has a branch there. You may serve there. That city is still about 50% Swedish speaking. So you'll go around and you'll be speaking in Finnish, and you'll have people say, I don't speak Finnish. Jag kan inte prata finska. Or they'll ask you, pratar du svenska? Do you speak Swedish? And you'll say, no, I don't. But maybe you'll be lucky and your companion from Sweden, if you have one, will speak Swedish, and then you can try again. Anyway, so that's why you'll see Swedish everywhere in Finland, is because Finland was Sweden until the 1800s. And then Sweden and Russia fought a war, and Sweden lost. And what they lost was the territory of Finland. And so Russia took control of Finland, but they didn't really try to conquer it. They left it as, they call it a grand duchy. It was an autonomous grand duchy. So even though Russia controlled Finland, they didn't really govern in Finland. Finland kind of took care of itself for about 100 years after that, after the end of the war with Sweden. But, the 1800s, a time of great turmoil in Europe and a lot of nationalistic feeling, and that happened in Finland too. So you have a lot of intellectuals, artists, writers, composers, who start thinking about what it means to be Finnish and they kind of create a Finnish national identity. They start championing the use of the Finnish language over the use of Swedish in the elite. They start trying to make sure Finnish is being taught, Finnish is being studied. They write literature in Finnish. They make art, like paint and draw and write music about Finnish folklore. This is all happening in the late 1800s. Finally, you get World War I, which happens, and Russia gets really involved in World War I, and it causes the fall of the Russian Empire in 1917. And so when Russia starts having its civil war in 1917, that's when Finland is able to break away and become its own country. And I think, so that started in 1917, and I feel like it was 1918 that Finland actually declared independence. So 1917, 1918, the end of World War I, the fall of the Russian Empire, that's when Finland became an independent nation. But then, Russia became the Soviet Union, and so about 30 years after Finland declares independence, Russia, the USSR, becomes involved in World War II. Well, the whole world becomes involved in World War II, and Russia invades Finland. The Soviet Union invaded Finland, and Russia is like 10 times the size of Finland population-wise. But it's called one of the biggest miracles in Finnish history is that the Finnish army held the line. Russia assumed it would be able to take Helsinki in a day, and instead Finland remained an independent country throughout World War II. It's a big miracle because Finland is a very small country and Russia is a very large country. So this is where Finland's spiritual history comes in. They, like, the president of Finland led like a national prayer before the soldiers went to war to defend themselves. And they asked that Finland would be protected, and it was. It was protected. God protected Finland from Russia. So the problem was that since Russia was part of the Allies, Finland had to turn to the Axis powers to defend itself and keep Russia out. So at the end of the war, Finland lost the war because it was allied with Germany. And so after the war, when countries that had lost were being required to pay huge war debts, Finland was involved in that. Finland had a lot of war debt, but Finland is the only country that lost World War II to fully repay its debt to the United States. The only one. And Finland is also the only country sharing a border with Russia that did not become part of the Soviet Union. So Finland is really special, really a special place for that reason. Finnish people have, it's called sisu. It's one of the qualities that Finnish people possess. You can't translate it into English. It just means kind of like gutsy and courageous and stubborn, all rolled into one. That's this word sisu that Finnish people have. That's why they've lasted as an independent nation for so long. Part of the reason Finland feels so polite is because they were caught between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. So this national identity that Finland has kind of developed out of this intense scrutiny it was always under, you know. And because of that, it couldn't join, like, Finland is not a member of NATO. It's not a member of a lot of treaty organizations that exist in the West because it was right next to Finland and to Russia. And so it couldn't do that without provoking this large neighbor that it had. So anyway, Finland has gone through a lot of trial and a lot of terrible times in Finland. But right now Finland is wealthy. It's one of the wealthiest nations in the world. It has one of the best standards of living in the world. You can Google like best places to live, and Finland is like almost always in the top 10. People have what they need in terms of physical needs. They have housing, they have food, they have education free for everyone, they have healthcare free for everyone. It's a socialist republic. Social republic, not socialist, social republic. That's a big distinction. Because they have everything they need, they don't seek spiritual things very often anymore. They have what they need, so why do they need religion? You know that they need religion because we offer the gospel of salvation. We offer the restored church, we offer the priesthood, we offer a prophet. So even though right now Finland is not, the spiritual heritage of Finland is a lot weaker than it has been in the past. But that means they need the gospel more than ever, right? They need the truths that you have.